5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, folks, we're back again. Sorry about that. Apparently, the Twitch soundtrack app for their royalty-free music that you embed is not ready for prime time. Apparently, you could hear me while I was streaming, but as soon as I stopped the stream and went to upload it, it killed all the audio. So all you got was silence for an hour and a half. So here we are. We're going to do it again. And I get to babble again for probably another hour and a half. But, oh well. It is what it is. And I just found out my last 3 videos are also dead as well. So I got to redo some stuff, which means you'll probably get some extra streams this week. Oh well. If you were live with me for the past hour, you get to bear with me again. If you didn't catch us the last hour, hey, you get to try to get it one more time. But hey.
I'm going to grab stuff out of my trinket box.
And my wife forgot her rings again.
I was staining.
But all right, and we got if you want music on your stream and you want it royalty free, and you have an Amazon Alexa app or Alexa Dealy Bop, an Alexa Dot, whatever fashion it is, you can use that. Just tell it to play royalty free music. If you have a Google Home Mini, you could probably do the same thing with that. Just tell it play royalty-free music, and it will pop up with some decent music. I'm sure there's computer apps too that probably do the same thing. That way you can have.
Swipe down from the top of your screen. Then go to Settings. Network.
Computer, stop. You can. Probably find some apps that'll do the same thing. That way you can have music on your stream. So we'll try this again. And we'll try to get some music, so it's not so boring. All right, this stream, as the last one we tried doing, is about printers, 3D printing, and 3D printers from a newcomer's perspective. Now, I started with a little bit of 3D design. Computer, play royalty-free music on Workshop Group.
Shuffling songs by royalty-free music on Amazon Music.
Computer, play royalty-free music on the Workshop Group.
Shuffling songs by royalty-free music on Amazon Music.
Computer, play royalty-free music on the Workshop Group. That should give me a bit of a pain in the butt.
Shuffling songs by royalty-free music on Amazon Music.
Computer, stop. Computer, play royalty-free music on the Workshop Group.
Shuffling songs by royalty-free music on Amazon Music, playing on the Workshop Group.
There we go. Hey, that's a little better beat. Alright. Alright, well, anyhow, I started out with a little bit of 3D back in the 90s, before Toy Story and all that, hit the theaters, and 3D movies and all that stuff were the hot thing, and 3D games were really non-existent. The hottest thing back then was Doom was the hot shit. There weren't all these 3D games, Resident Evil, and Silent Hill, and all these games out there, all that stuff. The 3D app at the time was this 3D world online on a web page, and I can't remember what it was called at the time, but it used VRML, virtual reality markup language. If you're one of the chosen few that had high-speed broadband from either T1 or ISDN or the select few at the time that was field testing cable modems, you could try and use that, and you had good luck. The rest of us were suffering with 14.4 or 28K, or back then 28 or 56K were just hitting the market. So 3D worlds were not there. I used a program, I forgot what it was called. It was pretty basic, and I dabbled a little bit, and it was okay. Then back in 2003, I started with Flight Sim back in the 82 with Sublogic Flight Simulator 2 on the Commodore 128, and had a lot of fun. In 2003, I was reintroduced to the world of Flight Sim with Flight Simulator 2002 and 2004. Flight Simulator 2004 had a software developer's kit that had the program GMAX on it, where you could go in and create your own aircraft, your own 3D model. I enthusiastically installed that program and fantastically failed. I couldn't figure it out, and for the better part of a year played around and tried to figure it out, and kind of toyed with Autodesk 3ds Max and a site called Turbo Squid, and played around, and it took me about a year to figure out the interface and make some simple things. And I kept going to this tutorial about how to make a 3D plane. Couldn't figure it out. Then one day I got a wild hair and decided, well, what about if I start at tutorial number 1 in the help menu? And this had nothing to do with 3D planes and flight simulator. It had you create a monster head, this green ogre. So I started with that, and and I just went to the next tutorial, to the next tutorial, to the next tutorial, until about maybe 10 tutorials in, and I got to the plane tutorial, and well, that's what they were talking about. Oh, that made sense. And so I started my first plane, which I think was a Diamond Air DA 340. And then I even dabbled in a King Air 390, which are probably still out there on AvSim or other sites, are still floating around, and they aren't the best quality, but they're out there. And I had a couple of folks approach me. They were doing a 3D flight simulator, design university, and I kind of helped teach some classes on designing 3D planes and using the tools at the time to help people try to make their own planes. And I told them, don't start at the airplane tutorial. Start at the ogre head. And people go, well, why do you want to do that? And I told them what I went through, and hey, lo and behold, they came to the same light bulb that I did, and hey, it makes sense. Skip ahead, probably 6 years later or so, maybe. I say about 2010. In 2003, 2004, 5, I say, I kind of got introduced to the world of Second Life through a roommate of mine. And I tried their 3D building tools and couldn't make sense of it. Well, I could make sense. It just was really kludgy, and it was in-world, and just really couldn't do much that I could with 3ds Max and GMAX, and how I could design stuff from in there. So I kind of gave up. And it wasn't until about 2010 that Second Life introduced a thing called Mesh, where you could use your external tools, 3ds Max, Blender, and other tools, and import that stuff into Second Life. That opened up the floodgates. Along with my wife, we started bringing in, we started making models in 3ds Max and importing them in world, furniture, houses, all kinds of things. We had one there called Mosey Cafe that was the biggest seller. Everybody was buying that. It was just a simple little bistro set, a table and chairs. And to this day, it's still selling like hotcakes. We make $30 every few months. We go into Second Life, pull it down, and we make $30 here and there. But it's pretty cool. And then we ditched Second Life for InWorld and continued on there. And InWorld kind of saw the birth of Design Creations. My wife's idea. And we went hardcore for a few years. We moved to Florida, and my wife got her own computer then, and an HP all-in-one, and she got hot and heavy into designing clothes and Photoshop. Learned Photoshop really well, and I was doing pretty good with 3ds Max, and God, I think it was up to 3ds Max, whatever 10 or whatever version it was then. I lost count, and. We're going, and then we just we kind of fell out of it for a while. The community got a little weird, some drama, and we tried starting our own grid, and funds were a little tight at the time, and just real life kind of got in the way. And then we moved to Texas. 3 of us, me, my wife, and her mother, my mother-in-law, in this little tiny apartment, and things just got really cramped, and we just kind of tuned out for a while. And then we moved to Oklahoma, got into a 3-bedroom house, had 3 bedrooms, kind of like a little study area, had a den, and we kind of got into our own little 3D world, kind of a little bit more 3D. And then this summer of 2018, we had some good fortune. And we were able to bring up Design Creations and actually start making real product out of wood and stuff. And Design Creations moved from the virtual world to the real world. Well, one day I kind of got another wild hair, and I looked at a 3D printer. I've always been interested in 3D printing. I had bought computer, skip. I had bought a couple of 3D printed items online. One was an antenna, kind of an antenna piece for one of my ham radios that kind of filled the gap for an antenna, and 1 or 2 little items. And Windows 10 has its own little 3D viewer for 3D things, and you could, send stuff out to a 3D printing service and have it mailed back to you. And and I did a little bit of research, and I found a 3D printer made by Dremel, and it was expensive, but it had the Dremel name on it. And my grandfather had a Dremel hand tool, and he made awesome woodcraft with it. Did a lot of things for decades. So I said, okay, they got the Dremel name. Yes, it's, it was supposed to be very user friendly, and I bought it. I had the money at the time, so I pulled the gun, pulled the trigger, and bought it. Came like a week later, great big heavy box, and it sat in my garage for about another week or 2 until I was able to set up a shop for it and set things up, unpacked it, had it up and running within 30 minutes. Very simple. The application for it was web-based, so it could run on Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, whatever could run a modern browser. And the slicer was what they call the application. I was able to import some of my creations. I was able to download stuff from Thingiverse, and I was printing within 30 minutes to an hour. One of the very first things I printed was called Winged Fury, and for the most part it printed, but it didn't print one of the arms, and the resolution was left a little bit to be desired. It took a few hours to print. And then I printed another little model called Hecate. Am I saying that right, baby?
Hecate?
whatever, Hecate or Hecate, was a little pagan statue. It came out kind of miserable looking, but again, that probably had to do with the original model really wasn't high resolution to begin with. So it was probably a couple inches tall and, left a little bit to be desired. The Dremel, expensive, very easy, worked right out of the box. The software was really good. The filament came in 0.5 kilogram spools, had an RFID tag on it, so you put the spool in there. The machine read the RFID tag, told the printer what kind of filament was in there, what kind of settings to set up, and kind of ran right away. Easy peasy, right away. For the most part, the Dremel was pretty decent. I did learn that you could print an adapter, so you could use other brand 1 kilogram spools and use non-Dremel spools. One caveat: it doesn't have an RFID tag, so it didn't read the settings. You had to do them manually. Another caveat is the Dremel really didn't like other brand filaments. So after a little bit of time, I started having some problems with some nozzle clogging, some stepper motor issues, and I had some hard clogs. I tried putting another nozzle on there, had some issues. So I went to Dremel support, and for the most part, they were really good. They helped me out. They sent me some parts and helped me out, as best they could, and got me going. I pretty much, if I stuck to the Dremel spools, which were again 0.5 kilogram and relatively inexpensive for what they were, the printer performed relatively decently. But me being the techie tinkerer that I am, I wanted more out of it. So I did some more research, see what I could do. Was there another printer out there that would fit the bill for what I wanted? I ended up looking at the Prusa printers, which were about half the price. Rather than 2,000, 2,500, they came in around 7,000 to, or 700 to 1,000, depending on the model and if you wanted it in a kit or pre-built. So I decided on the kit, which came in around about 700, 800, and was on back order because they're extremely popular, and then of course COVID, and that took about 4 weeks to get to me. Came in a kit, had to be completely assembled from the ground up. I sat on the floor of my workshop, here behind me on cement, and it took me about 13 to 14 hours to build it from scratch. And we're talking every bolt, building the extruder, the hot end, every little piece. The downside was it took forever. Took a lot of time. I was cramped and I had to pay attention to what I was doing. The good thing is Prusa's manual was unbelievably detailed. Good clear English, beautiful pictures, a very thick manual. The manual is also online, up to date. The community was able to add to the manual their links, pictures, photos, videos, tips and tricks to kind of help you along. So it made the build process a lot easier, even though it still took 13 hours. Even Prusa said it's going to take you 12 to 14 hours to build their printer. And I came in right in the middle, about 13 hours. The good thing about doing it from scratch is I learned a lot about what was going on with my printer. So when it came time when I had a problem or an issue, I kind of knew what was going on. I knew what part was what. I knew how it all went together. And when I had to troubleshoot, I knew what this piece was. I knew what that piece was. And I knew what I was doing. So when I went looking for videos, I knew what parts to look up. I knew the nomenclature. And the community was really good. You could identify what you're doing. The one major problem I had is when I followed their video on changing a nozzle, I put the pliers up to the hot end and went to undo the nozzle, and I shorted out my main board by crossing one of the I think it was the thermosistor, and I shorted out, I burnt out my main board. Contacted Prusa support. One tech said, "Too bad, so sad." Another tech said, "We are aware of that problem. We are looking into it," and they helped me out. And they said if I take a couple of pictures and to show out the burnt out resistor, they'll see what they can do. Sent in the picture, said yes, it is the problem they're aware of. If I send in the old main board, they'll send me a new one. About a week later, said they no longer require the old main board, they'll just ship out the new board. About a week or so later, I had a new main board on the way, and I was able to find direct from the manufacturer of the motherboard a replacement. So I now have two boards. I have one from Prusa and one from the manufacturer of the main board, which I think is Arduino, or I forget who exactly. But I have a spare board just in case. And Prusa is working on changing their video or annotating their video, that if you do change out a nozzle, heat it up to temperature, turn off the power, and then remove your nozzle, and then turn everything back on so you don't short out your board. So that was the one problem. Any other problems I had with nozzles clogging, using brass nozzles with some harsher filaments like wood fills or glow-in-the-dark filaments or ABS or PETG, brass nozzles wear out pretty quickly. And I do have a picture on my site, on my Facebook, where you can see the 0.4 millimeter nozzle is really worn out. So brass nozzles go pretty quickly. You can get hardened steel and some different nozzles. Prusa does have a ruby nozzle, which is supposed to be really resilient and can print just about everything, but is extremely expensive. I think $90 US. But it's supposed to be able to handle everything. But it only comes in one size. You can get nozzles from 0.2 millimeter all the way up to 1 millimeter. And each nozzle can handle different things, can speed up, slow down your print, can handle different qualities. You put a 1 millimeter nozzle, they'll print stupidly fast, but eat up filament and give you really neat effects. You can use a 0.2 millimeter nozzle, get really high resolution, but it will take forever to print. And then you got the 0.4 and 0.6 nozzle, which are in the middle, give you good resolution, decent speeds, and kind of is like right in the middle. The Prusa I was able to hook up to Octoprint and Octodash. So I got the Octoprint server running, which handles all my print jobs. So I can from the Prusa slicer send it to the Octoprint server, set and forget. I don't have to sneak or net it over to the USB port or to the SD card and run it. I can do it all over the network. I can use Octo Remote, my web browser, my phone, my tablet when I'm out and about and watch my print jobs. I can share the camera over the net to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all over, and you can see on the bottom of my screen, my camera is going with the current print I have now. So, beautiful. I have Octodash running on a 7-inch screen that sits on the top corner of my printer. That gives me my job status. I can also control my print head and temperatures, spool settings, and all that. So the Prusa and Octoprint and Octodash, perfect. It was everything I was looking for. It uses just about every filament out there. Maybe not some of the exotics. I did have a little bit of trouble with some of the glow-in-the-darks. I do have to get my settings and my nozzles just right with the glow-in-the-darks, because it's a little funky printing. It's a little flexible. ABS is a bitch to work with because it's very temperature, very environmental sensitive. So you got to have It works best in an enclosed printer like the Dremel. Very draft sensitive, very temperature sensitive. PETG works really well if you have a textured build plate, which Prusa does have. Sticks to that. Don't print PLA, then print PETG on top of the same print build plate. They won't stick. You'll have problems. Print PETG or PLA on one plate, and then get a textured plate. Print your PETG on that plate. You won't have sticking problems. The Dremel had a glass build plate, and you used glue sticks, which I don't happen to have on me. I gave to my wife. They're just the Elmer glue, glue sticks. You turn the thing, you play it down. Was a nasty mess. You put them on there. You had to scrape it off, wipe it off. Was a pain in the ass. The Prusa had the metal plate printed with no glues, no nothing, and was great. I didn't have to mess with anything. I was having some sticking problems. I had to get the Z axis just right, the live Z axis just right, so I had to play with that. The temperature had to be just perfect. The environment in the room had to be just perfect. So every so often I'd start a print and it'd go crazy on me. So I'd have to stop it and restart it. So I'd have like 2 or 3 failed starts before it'd stick. And then, well, before I jump onto that, we bought Essence of Magic. We bought an Ender 3 version 2 printer. And they have a glass plate as well. And we tried a couple of different adhesion processes with that. We tried glue, and it was a nasty mess. We tried the little build surfaces that come with the Overture filaments, and it stuck a little too well. We couldn't get it off the build plate, and we tried nothing. Then we went with the Aquanet hairspray method. We sprayed a little bit out to the plate, worked beautifully. Stuck right away, was easy to clean, easy to remove. So I tried it on the Prusa as well. Awesome. Spray a little bit on there. The first layer went down. Every print, I don't have as many failed starts. Occasionally, once or twice. When I remove the print, I just take some. I usually use isopropyl alcohol pads, the little like you see what the doctor uses for taking blood or an injection, or even a bottle and a cotton swab. I like the little square pads, no lint really. I use that. Then I take a little spray bottle with some Dawn and some water mixture. Spray it on there. A blue shop towel that you find at AutoZone or Pep Boys or Walmart. Spray a little bit of water and soap on there. Wipe it off. A little plain water. Rinse it off. Wipe it down. Spray a little thin layer of Aquanet on there. Pop it on the heat bed. Off you go. Awesome. Runs great. Print pops right off. You flex the bed. Pops off. With the Prusa, it does come with a dual spool holder. You can put 2 spools up there. I did print a couple of filament guides so they don't run a little weird. I did take those spool guides off, and I printed a modified paper towel holder. It's on Thingiverse, called the Ultimate Paper Towel Holder. I resized them to fit a 1 kilogram spool, and I mounted them to the wall. I will zoom over here right quick, and you'll see them on the wall there. So I can put 3 spools up and kind of use them. I can do sort of multicolor as is. If I print up to a certain layer, it'll pause, and I can print another color from that layer above. The Prusa does have the multi-material unit that you can buy, and you can print up to 5 different filaments at once. It's a $200 or $300 attachment that you can put on there, and it can print 5 different colors all at once automatically. That might be a future upgrade for us here in the future. We don't know yet. We're still sitting on the fence on that one. Yes, baby.
Just something I want to point out that you were mentioning the hairspray and how good it was and everything.
Uh-huh.
You do need to be slightly careful when you're putting it on the bed. When you're applying it, don't keep the can moving. Don't stop and let it glob into one place because your nail will get the thing off the bed if you do that.
Yeah, you don't want a puddle.
Yeah, you just nice, even, quick spray on it, and that's all it needs.
Yeah, just a thin layer. Yeah, you don't want puddles of hairspray. It'll get gooky, it'll get in your nozzle, and you will have hard times removing it.
Yes. Sorry, I just thought I'd put my 2 cents in there.
And our music stopped. Friggin' Amazon.
No,
Anyhow.
it didn't.
It didn't?
No, it didn't. I can still hear it.
No?
Just barely. It's just the song that's on.
Yeah? Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really low. But it's still going.
Computer. Skip. Okay. Oh, anyhow, like you said, the hairspray, nice thin little layer. You don't have to use very much at all. And Aquanet is kind of like the go-to. I have the good 80s big hair Aquanet. It doesn't matter whether it's the purple can or the white can.
As long as it's super hold.
Yeah, the super hold, which is pretty much all you can get. It is the white can is scented, the purple can is unscented. I don't think it matters which one you get. You could probably get other hairsprays out there, but everybody seems to like the Aquanet. It's the tried and true. It's been around for decades. I guess since the 50s or 60s it's been out. And it made its heyday in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like I said, the Prusa, I loved it. It's you can get it as cheap as $700. You can get it pre-built for about $900 US dollars, and then you can get the multi-material unit for another $300. They just upgraded to the Mark III S Plus, which has a upgraded sensor unit, which I did get the upgraded sensor unit. Should be here in a few weeks. Does a little better bed leveling and some more temperature handling. That's a $50 upgrade. And then they upgraded some of the attachments, some of the were some of the rods and clips attached to the base and to the bed for some stability enhancements. What's up, baby?
She's asking about your incense tower. She said, I saw something that was smoking. Looks like wood. What is that?
Oh yeah, we have been kind of jamming to incense and all that lately. Oh, hi, Mom. So yeah, we bought this little incense tower from Walmart, and let me pull it out here. And it just uses a little cone incense. It was like, wow, $4 from Walmart.
Yeah, you can do either cone or sticks.
Yeah, I like the cone ones. It's over there. You go over by where all the makeup and all that is.
She wants to know if we can make something like that.
We are going to try to make something like that. That's one of the reasons why I bought it. We're going to try to copy the design a little bit and make something in the future.
Well, not the design, but the fundamentals of it.
Yeah, our own design and all that, but something similar to that. Yeah, but anyhow, if you go over there by where the makeup counter is, where they got the pots and pans and where the waxes and the candles and all that, it's in those aisles. So yeah, $4, I think.
No, try 10.
No, it was $10.
Yes.
I thought it was $4 or $5.
No, that's $10.
Oh, I thought it was
$9.98.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, and it comes with a bunch of cones and sticks in it. Anyhow, too. Make sure you get one that still has the paper around it, so you get all the parts and pieces.
Yes.
Okay, and then not too long ago, about 2 months ago, we were thinking of getting another printer, and we were going to get a Prusa Mini, which is about $300-400. It has a really small bed. And the thing about Prusa right now is they're about 2 months back ordered. They're really popular and they're having a hard time with COVID and all that. And I did some more research and I looked at Creality and looked at some of their printers. And they were marked up there as one of the top runners as well for sub $500 printers. They're kind of termed as a beginner printer. I wouldn't really call them a beginner. They're good professional printers too, I would say. So we pulled the trigger on a Creality Ender 3 version 2. And it cost us under $300, right? $290, I think, all after shipping and taxes and all that. And we shipped one in from China because US was out of stock at the moment. And I think we got it in what, 2 weeks? 2-3 weeks, maybe?
About that.
Yeah. So it was a little slow.
A little closer to 3, but considering
Yeah.
it's coming from overseas,
Yeah.
I'll take it because most stuff from overseas usually takes like 6 weeks.
Yeah. So it wasn't too bad. And the price was right. And that one was semi-assembled. The hot end, the extruder was all assembled. Most of the rails were assembled. So that one took us about 2 hours to put together. The instructions on that one stunk.
Yeah.
Very thin, very small. So we went to a video online. And unfortunately, the video we had wasn't all that great. The guy was going fast. And he did a few steps without, you're looking at it, well, wait a minute, how'd you get that together? So we stopped and looked for another video, found another video, and that guy went step by step all the way through and took us all the way through to the point of leveling the bed and doing our first print. Awesome. We had that one up and running in about 2 hours. We did have to stop the video because we had a little bit of trouble getting the leveling and getting a few things started. But once we got that going, we were up and running probably in about 4 hours. All said and told, we had our first print going. That one again uses all kinds of filament, whatever 1 kilogram spool you want, ABS, PETG, TPU. TPU is a flexible filament. On my printer right now is a little. You probably want some of these too, Mom. Little miniature paint palettes. It goes on your thumb, and you can put paint on there, and do it. If you want some, Mom, let me know. I'll print some out for you. But anyhow, once we got the printer going, it uses the Ender has what's called a Bowden feed. It has the feed motor on the side. You put the filament in, and it goes up and around this tube into the extruder, which is all roughly about 600 millimeters in length. So you feed it in there, goes down into the extruder, into the nozzle. If you use flexible filaments like TPU, it's going to flex and cause jams. Whereas the Prusa has what's called the direct drive. It goes straight into the hot end and right into the nozzle. So you can use more flexible filaments. Little caveats in printers. If you want to use flexibles and more exotic materials, go for a direct drive. Creality Enders do have the ability to do a direct drive upgrade. That's one of the great things about these printers. You can do some DIY upgrades and make some changes. You can replace the entire hot end, the entire extruder, and really do some funky stuff to do some really neat prints. Hey, thanks for following, Mom. And the Ender, very simple machine, has a smaller bed. It has a 200 by 200 by 250 millimeter bed. It's a little smaller than the Prusa. Doesn't have quite as many resolutions. I think it goes from 0.28 down to 0.05. millimeters, whereas the Prusa goes from 0.05 up to 0.30. So it has a little bit more resolutions. Prints relatively quickly. The bed is a little tricky. It uses these little stupid metal clips that we found really annoying. So we replaced the metal clips with simple, everyday, stationary bull clips that you can find in stationery stores. We used one for the front, one for the back. The caveat for that is you have to be aware of where your print is on the bed. If your print takes up a good chunk of the bed and the extruder hits that clip, it's going to throw your bed out of whack and your print out of whack. So you got to be aware of where your print is on the bed and where you put your clips that are mounting your glass bed to the heated platform.
Oh yeah, because if you're really lucky, that clip is gonna fly across.
Yeah, and you can shoot that clip across the room and throw your entire print out of whack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so be aware of where your print is and where your clips are.
Yeah.
The thing about using these bull clips, they're really easy to sit there and maneuver around, and you can use 1, 2, 3, or 4, how many ever you need to move around. So yeah, that's the one great thing about the Ender. The Ender does have, and I do have a link. There's a company called I think it was called Filament, Fulaflex, that has the ability to it has a sticky using 3M adhesive magnetic plate that adheres to the heated bed, and then you can take these flexible beds. One side is textured, one side is smooth, similar to what the Prusa has, and then clip it onto the magnetic bed that you adhere to the heated bed on the Ender. And then you have a flexible bed like the Prusas or many other printers. So then you don't have to use clips or the glass bed. Then you have the textured bed for, say, PETGs or ABS, and then the smooth bed for PLAs and other filaments. And then you can just pull it off and flex it to pop off the print job instead of using a scraper or whatever to pull off your job. But yeah, a nice little deal. A 220. Yeah, 220 for 220 by 220 for the Ender is $55. Not too bad for smooth and textured. One side smooth, one side textured. Not too bad price for a decent little upgrade. And then you can see for the Prusa with Octoprint, the pretty G-code plug-in kind of gives you a neat little view of what's printing, and the temperatures, job status, and all that, and then some quick controls. I was skeptical with the Enders because it was cheap and made in China, but I was very, very pleased in its performance and how it's been cranking jobs out. I would definitely buy another one. I will probably here in the near future buy a Creality CR version printer. I forgot exactly which one I was looking at. I think it was the Ender 6 maybe that I was going to get. No, they got a few different ones. I think it was. They got a few different ones out there. Or was it the Ender 5?
I remember you mentioning 5. I don't remember you mentioning 6.
Yeah, there was one. I was looking at the Ender 2 Max, the Ender 2 Max, that had a 300 by 300 build. No, it's the Ender 5 Plus that I'm looking at, probably getting next, which has a 350 by 350 by 400 build volume. We're looking at a cubic foot and a half build volume. So we're looking, a foot and a half by foot and a half by almost 2 foot build volume. So I can really put out some big prints. And it has an automatic or pre-installed automatic bed leveling. You don't have to add that as an add-on. So that will probably be my next printer. Hopefully 6 months to a year from now. Let's see here. I will pull this up. So yeah, this will probably be the next one we get for DC. And we will expand our abilities. So definitely looking to expand here in the future. And if this one is anything like the Ender 3 version 2, we'll be very happy with it. Yes, Prusa is very nice too, but they're a little expensive. Our next Prusa purchase may be the multi-material unit, which will allow us to use 5 filaments at once and get 5 colors and 1 print job. That might be our next Prusa upgrade.
I'm not really sold on that, only because it kind of renders me useless.
What do you mean useless? Oh, we're painting? Well, yeah, we're still painting, but it has the ability to do, you can print, the big thing about the multi-material unit is you can print, say, a model in PLA and then do supports in a soluble material. So you can print the main model in PLA, print the supports in a water-soluble material, drop the whole print in water, and the supports will melt away.
Oh, that's cheap.
And then you're left with a full model.
That's cheap.
So there's that advantage with the MMU. So there's that to consider. And then there's the whole thing with SLA printers, the resin printers. We were looking at probably one of those. They're relatively inexpensive, but they're messy, stinky, and the resin material is very, very expensive. And we also hear that if you don't handle it properly with gloves and the right ventilation and all that, it can affect your immune system. Over time, it can affect your body where it will really affect your immune system and your body itself. So we said, nope, not going to play with it.
Yeah, I already got to compromise immune system.
Yeah, we will not play with SLA printers. Even though they give extremely highly detailed prints, we won't mess with that. Yeah, with COVID and cancers and all that.
Diabetes.
Yeah, we won't mess with SLA. We'll stick with the plastic. But I will switch to the craft table right quick. And we will go to our print, or what we printed out. Like I said, we did some 3D World stuff. This is one of the models that I did in 3D in Second Life.
Actually,
no, we did this for BTP.
oh, that's right.
Yeah. So this was originally started in Second Life, and then we imported it into InWorld.
Right.
But it's just a little Zen garden that we had some Tai Chi animations in. A little Japanese inspired deal. One day I got wild hair up my ass and said, I wonder if I can print this in 3D. Popped it in the printer and hey, it worked. And then started trying my hand at painting it. It kind of looks like a kindergartner kind of hit it. And, well, for most of it, and then Nikki did some of the grass, so the grass looks a little bit better. So we're still working away at that.
And of course, we've got our expert artist looking at this too.
Yeah, probably look. Oh, yeah, that looks like crap. And then we got Wing Victory. This is what we printed on the Dremel. You can see the resolution probably isn't the highest, and we got one whole arm missing. But for one of our very first prints, it didn't come out too bad. You know.
But that's how we learn.
Yeah. And then I did a chest piece that I did. Came out really nice. A little bit of weirdness down here at the bottom, but overall, really nice piece. Nice silver. And then I found a Vaporella model that I did that they said you could print without supports. Supports are little extra structures that go under parts that hang out that need support, because you can't print in midair. You have to have a supporting structure, because the way a printer prints layer by layer. So if you can print at an angle, but if you print in 90 degrees, you do have to have something for that layer to sit on. So you can see here, there's some funkiness right in here where it was supported. You can just clip off with a pair of clippers, a pair of snippers, which usually come with most printers, or you can get in a hobby kit, and you can file off the oddities. You can see in the face, probably not super high detailed. I think I did this in a 0.2, maybe a 0.3. There's some lines and not a high resolution. But for the most part, it came out really nice. Then I printed out a tank one day. Didn't use any supports. And you can see the bottom came out kind of nasty. Not too terribly great. So another one I gotta print. But for the most part, it came out okay. And then my dad's favorite plane is an F4 Corsair. The base model wasn't highly detailed, so there is some roughness. And then I tried different types of supports, and then the underside came out really nasty. So, yeah. Something you got to keep in mind is the original resolution of the model, the types of support you have, and then when you go to remove the supports, what's going to be left over afterwards. So that was a exercise futility, I guess you could say. And then I got a little Yoda doorstop, that I found on Thingiverse. And it's just a little doorstop with a little Yoda on it. We've got a Yoda and a baby Yoda. And we've got one that was printed about 4 times the size to fit under our laundry room door, because it sits a little bit higher over the floor. And this is the standard size. And we got a little Yoda. And then we got a baby Yoda version that we can print out eventually. And then my wife, the geeky nerd that she is a Trekkie at heart. So I found a Star Trek Voyager model that I printed out. And it's cut in several different pieces so you can get a nice big print. And the model came out very detailed. So I will glue this, or she will glue this. We'll glue it all together. And then she'll have fun painting it. And then I used a couple of different models. And I used the middle part of one model that had the ability to print a stand with it. And it came with a nice little communicator badge stand. So she'll have fun printing that. And then if were a sci-fi geek in the 90s, Babylon 5, I printed out a Star Fury. This is my second attempt. The front came out really nice, mostly, but the back came out kind of crappy. A lot of stringing and artifacts. I don't know if it's because I had my retraction set wrong again or what. I'm going to have to probably redo the back again and reset my retraction again. Retraction is where the filament gets pulled back into the nozzle and the heat. Into the nozzle and gets pulled back into the nozzle and gets fed back in, back into the printer. The distance and the speed determines the stringing and all this stuff down here. The slower and the further it goes in, the better prints you get. So I had to play with the retraction speed and distance again. And that affects your stringing. The further and slower the retraction, the better your print, if I remember correctly. Again, if you go on to YouTube and look for videos, there is a video out there. I will post a link on the YouTube version of this video for it's called the 13 Things I Learned I Wish I Knew When I Started 3D Printing. I'll post that on there. That gives a good retraction tutorial. I think there's one other video too that does really good. Let's see here. I don't think there's any other prints out there that I have. One big thing I gotta say about 3D printing is also another thing that they put out there in the videos is if you go into 3D printing and you want to put it as a business and make money, you're going to be unhappy and you'll probably fail miserably. But if you go into 3D printing looking at it as a hobby and you're going to fail and you're going to have miserable prints, good prints, successes and failures, you're going to have fun and you're going to succeed. You're going to have bad prints. You're going to have failure. You're going to have prints go really crazy, really weird. You're going to start a print one night, wake up in the morning, and have a ball of fuzz. Like, what the hell happened? You know, you're going to have a print that's going to go really well. You're going to go walk in there and things are going to go really whack. Maybe you're like, oh, okay, throw it in the trash bin, start again. And you're always going to be learning. If you go into 3D printing with that in mind, you're going to succeed and you're going to have fun. But if you're going to go in there and think everything's going to go perfect, everything's going to start from day one, you're not going to have fun. You're not going to succeed. Another thing is post-printing, post-processing, sanding, sandpaper, files, little files like this, big files, sandpaper, painting, clippers, little clippers, paints, stuff like that, glue guns. Have a good glue gun. I highly suggest the Ryobi cordless. Good brushes, paint brushes, good paints. Monument Hobbies out of Phoenix. They have a good acrylic base. Even the ones you get at Walmart, the folk art ones, are good ones to start with. Good cheap ones to get. A good airbrush. Spend good money on a good airbrush. Can really do good. Good glues. To me is liquid cements. Good glue sticks. Even Tester's glue. Gorilla glue. Anything else you can add, baby?
For gluing the plastic?
Anything, just anything in general.
Well, plastic's Gorilla Glue and isn't really so great because it doesn't dry quick enough.
Yeah, Gorilla Glue is a little slow. I would stick with the Testers, the Tamiyas, and standard hot glue. Would go you. The hot glue is, it's good if you want it to stick fast, but not be permanent. If you want to glue something but then be able to take it apart later, the Tamiya is very thin, takes a while to bond, and then the Tester's model glue is a good medium, or it'll go on there, stick really good. Super glue, crazy glue.
Well, for the plastic, if you get the glue with the primer, that's perfect.
Yeah, there's a glue. I don't know what it's called. I have some of it here. It's DAP, Rapid Fuse Primer Glue. DAP, same people that make the construction adhesives and caulks. This stuff, Rapid Fuse, sticks really good, really fast, almost forever. It has a little primer, Billy Bop. You prime the surfaces, then you get the glue. It's kind of expensive. You don't get a lot of it, but it's really fast, really permanent. And then this I found, the Gorilla Super Glue. Not too bad. It's okay. But I found the Testors, good old Testors model glue. It's really good. You know, tried and true, been around for decades. You know, my tube is all mangled. And the Tamiya Hobby Cement, you know, is a good one. A lot of people use. Very thin, very liquidy, good for, you know, fine projects, but takes a little while to set up. So if you got clamps or rubber bands and stuff like that, this is good to, because you got to hold it for a while. But this is good for very fine, thin projects. Tweezers, have lots of tweezers. You get good tweezer sets. X-Acto knives. I think that is pretty. Oh yeah, you can even print these stupid little things or buy them. Little paint containers. You know, to mix your paint. You know, little jars to mix your thinners. You know, just little things. You know, anything you want to add, baby? We pretty much covered it. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we've got anything else to add, really. I think we pretty much got everything. I think we did a little I think we're a little bit less babbly this time around.
Yeah, you pretty much just got kind of straight to the point. And,
Yeah.
Mom's asking a question.
Did you print that? Oh, yeah, the bracket. I'm sorry, I didn't show the bracket. Yeah, so we printed some shelf brackets. If you go to thingiverse.com, let me post that right quick in chat.
Thingiverse?
Yep.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not quite sure how to do that.
I'll post that right quick. If you do a search on Thingiverse for brackets, shelf brackets, you can find all different types. This is one Nikki found that she liked. We did resize it down to 70% to fit a 6-inch shelf. I think they were, 8 or 10-inch shelves?
Yes.
To begin with. With a 60% infill, nice and strong. Little tricky to get the screws in at this size, but they are nice and strong, pretty nice. Nikki's got a set of shelves up in her office, in her studio, and we'll set up a few more. We'll take some pictures of those here soon. But yeah, we printed them out. I've got a couple of different designs up there. Like I said, if you go to Thingiverse and do a search for shelf brackets, you can find a slew of different types. All kinds. Fancy ones, simple ones, exotic ones, all kinds. And Mom, the way you put shelves up, I'm sure you can find all kinds of brackets. But I think that about does it for this. about does it for this stream. I can't think of anything else. Actually, we got the little paint palettes. If you want some of these, Mom, let me know. I'll print some out for you. They're just little thumb palettes, lefties and righties. The left hand, right hand. They just got little 3 paint spots. I can print some of those out. I think that's pretty much it for now. So I think we will pretty much call it for a night. And I went through my schedule. Mondays at noon, I tend to do a flight sim stream where I go through and I fly on my flight simulator, and that can last an hour or two or three or four, however long from the time I take off to the time I land. That's usually at noon to whatever. Tuesday, 7 p.m. I got my movers and shakers and makers stream, 7 p.m. Central. That's an hour or two. I will make something, design something, whether it be 3D printed wood or whatever, or something like we're doing today. Wednesdays is my art stream. I will try to do something art related. You can thank Monument Slow Fuse and Thunderdome Drew and all those folks and Soulway Studios. You can catch them at the bottom of my stream all across there about getting me kind of into putting paint to plastic and paint to wood and trying my hand at art. I'm not an artist, but we'll try. Thursdays at the moment we're off. We'll take some time off. Then Fridays, 7 p.m. is our Friday Night Lights. We will try to showcase some stuff and do some things with Essence of Magic. Whatever it is we're going to do. We'll surprise you. And then right now, Saturdays and Sundays we're off. Maybe we'll do an impromptu if we got something wild going on. If we're bored, we may pop on and do something interesting. But that's about it for now. We will see you again tomorrow night, about 5 p.m. with some art. Maybe I'll do some more of the Zen Garden. Maybe I'll paint a tank, and maybe I'll print another tank. I'll redo my tank. I had a tank that I bought back in Red Hills and Round Rock that I painted. I just recently broke the barrel on it a few months ago, and I'm going to redo and repaint that guy. So maybe I'll redo that one. But in the meantime, y'all have a good night. Thanks for joining me. Catch this video on Twitch for however long they keep the videos up. Otherwise, you can catch it on YouTube. You can make comments. I will put links and stuff that I find appropriate to this video on YouTube. And you can catch me on my Discord channel if you want to chat with me live. And you can catch all my other links on my main page at designcreations.us. You can see my Facebook links, Instagram. We will try to start a Patreon soon once we get some content. Twitter, Instagram, Etsy is on there as well, where you can see our creations and check out Essence of Magic and the stuff they're up to. And for now, we will see you on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.